Hello, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about philosophy, which I think is asking questions. And so I'm going to be talking about questions a lot. And I guess this is going to be more than one video. I looked up philosophy in the dictionary and it said it was an examination of basic concepts, the branch of knowledge or academic study devoted to the systematic examination of basic concepts, such as truth, existence, reality, causality, and freedom. My definition is to attempt to answer the questions that come to us all who think in a logical or reasonable way. Universal questions such as, where did I come from? Where am I going? And why am I here? And I think those are the three basic questions that come to everyone that thinks in a rational way, which there are exceptions, people who are insane, for example. But I think the vast majority of human population, past and present, would fit into a group that you could say thought in a reasonable way. In other words, we don't have any trouble communicating with each other. Um, what we're trying to say, we may not be able to agree with each other on what we're saying, but we can communicate our ideas to one another. So, as I ask any of these questions, or perhaps any question, I am seeking an answer that is not only true to me personally, I am seeking an absolutely correct answer. And why is that? There is something in my very nature, at the root of who I am, deeper or behind my conscious mind, that just feels right about an answer that is universally correct. I think one thing I like about mathematical calculations is that the answers are absolute. You can ask anyone the sum of 2 plus 2 and know that whatever their answer is, the correct answer is 4. There is something in my being that appeals to the absolutely correct truth, which seeks it out, which needs it. Something that even before I realized it was there, knew truth was there. When we are young, we ask a lot of questions about our physical surroundings to try to understand the world around us. As very young children, we are not even conscious of this. However, when you get older and keep company with a child for even a short time, you become highly aware of this inquisitiveness. I think a person just about has to be a parent to have heard a child ask the question, where did I come from? But let me assure you, it is a unique moment if you have never been asked. Why do they ask? That is a good question. Or for that matter, so is the question, why does anyone ask? I think children ask because they see babies come along and find out from us parents that they were once a baby. And of course, they want to know where babies come from. At some point in our development, I think most people have got enough answers to enough questions on the order of what is that, or how does this work, that they can function in society. Sometime during this learning to function, we learn that we can get wrong answers, and then we start to test and try answers for validity. After we are functioning, we start to ask, how will I do this? Or how will I get that? So it seems at first we question in order to learn how to live in life. Once we have begun to master living in life, we then question how to make life what we want it to be. I think most of us, after we have made life what we want it to be, or have resigned ourselves to accepting what life has become, then ask, what happens next? Excuse me. Like the children who want to know where babies come from, adults at some point start to wonder where other adults who are going away, dying, are going. Why do we even ask questions not related to our sustenance? Is it not a waste of time we could better use satisfying the needs of our bodies? Is it not ironic that we should use the very consciousness that separates us from the rest of the animals on this planet to question the origin, mechanics, and relevance of that consciousness? Of course, not all questions are absolute, like what is 2 plus 2. Some are subjective or relative, like what is your favorite color. Some questions are dependent upon answers to other questions. I think the question, where did I come from, is independent and universal. Independent in that no other question leads to it. For example, the way the question, where am I going, seems to follow the question, where did I come from. Universal in that this question will come to anyone, anywhere, anytime, if that person is self-aware and capable of rational thought. The question, where did I come from, really, of course, boils down to where did my ancestors come from, or where did humans come from. It is my opinion that most people have this question come into their mind at some point, and simply choose to ignore the question. This means they decide not to decide what they believe is the true answer to the question. We as people can do this. We have the freedom of choice. We can also ignore the other 2 inevitable questions I mentioned earlier, but not indefinitely. If one of these questions does not reoccur in some other way, eventually a crisis will occur in our life. And at that crisis point, one of the 3 questions I mentioned earlier will come to our mind, and the other 2 are never far behind. It may be at the complete end of a person's life, but as they near death, they will ask, where am I going? If they have not already chose to decide what they believe to be the true answer to that question. In my life, I have been presented with only 2 widely accepted answers to the question of our origin: theistic creation and atheistic evolution. The main reason I cannot accept the atheistic theory of evolution as the true answer to the question is that it invalidates the question. If, according to the atheistic theory of evolution, we are highly evolved animals resulting from the random collision of matter in an eternally existent space and time, then the thoughts, including the questions that come into my mind, are a continuation of the random, the senseless, the meaningless. The meaningless, of course, is the real kicker, because if humanity is only a cosmic accident, when we are gone, no one will know or care. Then all the love and hope we might experience are also meaningless. Excuse me. In the light of this answer, there is no love, no meaning, no truth, no beauty. When the last human dies, no anything. In fact, and this is irrefutable, it may not be right, but it is irrefutable. If there is no conscious life after this conscious life, when I cease to be conscious, this life or reality will cease to exist. You could kill me and prove that to be wrong to everybody else, but you couldn't prove it to me, right? That's why I say it's irrefutable. If the random, senseless, and meaningless are the truth, then there is no truth, and the question of where did I come from is completely irrelevant. If the atheistic theory of evolution is the correct answer, the only question I need answer are the ones pertaining to the sustenance of my body. I repeat, my body, not the body of humanity or the earth. If the atheistic theory of evolution is the true answer, any desire to do good or evil is meaningless. Pain is just my body trying to preserve itself, and pleasure is the result of the same, or social conditioning. With this thinking, there is no right or wrong. Steal, kill, and destroy anyone or anything, because they will be gone eventually anyway, and be as if they never were. If the atheistic theory of evolution is the true answer, logic and reason are no more dependable than our emotions, which would be totally useless. Once again, if the atheistic theory of evolution is true, there is no truth. So how can that be? Thank you for your time.